In this video, I'm going to recreate one of my designs, but I'm not using Photoshop, I'm using Microsoft Paint from Windows 98. Yeah, this is going to be difficult. Let's go. So this is the second episode of Made in Paint, and the way it works is you tell me what I should design and I try and recreate it in Windows 98 version of Microsoft Paint. I'm using an online emulator version of Paint called jspaint.app. So if you want to create your own Microsoft Paint inspired designs, then you can use this app. I'll leave a link in the description below, but it's a really cool tool and it's entirely free. Okay, so this week's suggestion for a design in Microsoft Paint comes from May Mabula over on Instagram. Thank you so much for sending that in. And we're going to create one of my own designs. And I've chosen this one because hopefully I'll be able to recreate it in Microsoft Paint. But let me show you it. This is one called Don't Forget to Refuel Your Soul. And I've got to try and put the text on here and create all the effects just using Microsoft Paint. So yeah, wish me luck. Okay, so the way this works is we set a timer for 20 minutes and whatever I create within that time frame is what we end up with. There's no changes, there's nothing that happens in the background. If this works, then great. If this flops, then it flops, but it was still entertaining. So I'm gonna set a timer for 20 minutes and we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna click start on that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is bring our background image in. So I'm gonna make sure I zoom out for this. Let's go to custom. We'll make that like 20%. And we're gonna bring the image in by going to edit, paste from. This is so much different to Photoshop. You can't just drag a photo in, you have to like bring it in officially. Okay, and then we're gonna click crop here. Okay, now I'm gonna bring this in and just using my photo on the side here as reference, making sure that looks centered. Once it's fixed, it's fixed. We can't really change it. So I'm just gonna make sure I get that right. That's probably as good as we're gonna get it. So I'm gonna set that in place. Okay, then I'm gonna zoom back in. Okay, so now the next step is gonna be trying to remove this text. Now we don't have a spot healing brush, we don't have content aware fill. All we can do is use the paintbrush tool and try and match the color. So I haven't attempted this. This could end up being a complete disaster, but we might as well try. So I'm gonna get the paintbrush tool here. Let's set it to square. We're gonna zoom in again. Okay, this is good. Okay, now I need to try and match this color. So colors, edit colors. Ah, here you go. I can pick a color here, right? Yes. Okay, this might actually work. So we're just gonna start to erase this. And this is gonna take up probably most of our time. So yeah, it's not the same as Photoshop. I mean, it's never gonna replace it, but hopefully this series is just gonna help prove that you don't really need the latest gadgets, the latest tools, all the gear. Sometimes you can just get away with using free tools. And this is maybe a bit of an over-exaggeration, but there are plenty of free tools out there like Canva and a few others as well online that you can use, like Adobe Spark as well on mobile. There's a few things that you can use that help to create graphics and create things, especially on like social media where it's a little bit more rough and ready. You can definitely do this in Paint. You know, there's certain things, as long as you design in ways that lean into the tools that you have, then you can definitely create stuff. And hopefully, I mean, this may look awful, but hopefully this is gonna help to prove that point. So we're gonna keep going through here. Well, I already miss the content aware fill and I already miss the spot healing brush. It's so much, like we take for granted the tools that we actually have now. Wow. Let's try and make this look a little bit more realistic. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that, but we'll give it a go. I'm just trying to match the colors at the moment and it's not massively working, but it's worth a shot. I think this will help if we zoom out in a minute. It may help to kind of add the effect, or it's going to make things look 10 times worse. And the best part is there's no way to get rid of this specific layer. So we just have to try and paint over it again. I do find Microsoft Paint quite therapeutic though. There's having your resources limited can actually make you think a bit more and be a bit more creative. And there's hardly like any tutorials around for Microsoft Paint. One, because it's so easy to use, but also because no one really uses it anymore. And so having not many Photoshop tutorials or people that inspire you to make stuff in Microsoft Paint makes you just kind of think on your own. You can't go on Pinterest and sort of find graphics inspired or created in Microsoft Paint. You just have to kind of make it up as you go along. Okay, so it's not perfect, but I don't think that's too bad. Like, you can still make it out, but hopefully once we put the text over the top, it will kind of look a bit different. I may just go through and add a few more bits of paint here, because once we start putting layers on top, we can't change it. So we need to get this right now. So go back in. And I think the biggest pieces that stand out is this piece up here. So I'm gonna eyedrop that. I mean, it's quite impressive that it has an eyedrop tool. Like, I thought that was a more modern thing, but apparently not. Maybe this is where Photoshop got all of its inspiration from. Okay, it's better. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better. I wish there was like a smudge tool that I could use to kind of get rid of some of those things and make it a little bit more invisible. Okay, so now we're gonna add, you'll see on this graphic here, I just bring this over, you'll see this kind of like swoosh, yellow swoosh thing here. So we're gonna try and add that in now. The reason why I'm gonna add that in now is because that sits behind the text. And because we don't have layers, I can't change that later on. So I've got to get that in as the next step and then get the text on top. And let's try adding some yellow in. Let's choose an appropriate yellow. Let's try this one. Okay, that may work the best. Now we don't have any way of kind of using anchor points or, oh, hang on, what's this? Ah, hang on a minute, I may have to take that back. So we could, let's see if we can do this. Could we create a swoosh using this? Let's try. Now you're coming on this experimental journey with me. I have no clue what I'm doing really. I'm just sort of working out as I go along. But I do appreciate you tuning in for this. I'm trying to sort of detach myself from that previous line. So if I add it in like this, like that's too high, that's too low, sorry. Let's try that. And then do something like that. Right, I want to get rid of that. I want to save that now. I don't understand why it doesn't let me add it once it's done. Ha! I may have just done it. Let's see. Aha! Is that stuck now? Okay, alright, I think we can work with this. It's not ideal, but I think we might be able to do this. So now can I fill that section in? Using the paint bucket tool. Doesn't look like it really wants to do it. So we're gonna go in, and we're gonna go zoom to, we're going to large size. We've got 7 minutes left. Okay, so we're gonna get the paint bucket tool here, or the brush tool, and just kind of go through and paint this in. Now this is, looking at it, it looks pretty bad, but hopefully once we add some text over the top, it will hide its ugliness, is my hope. It may not. We may have just created a really bad design, but this is not Windows 98 and everything looked bad. Zoom, let's go zoom to window. All right, so we have a swoosh. It's not identical, but it is a bit swooshy. You see, like this one had like a curve up and a curve down. We don't have that. We have sort of more of a shooting star. But, you know, for the sake of what we're doing right now, I think that's not bad. I wish it was a little bit of a darker yellow. Let's see if I can pull a different yellow in. Edit colors. Let's do custom colors, define. Let's choose something a bit darker, something more orangey, something like that. And then kind of just kind of paint over the top of that now. you're gonna watch a 15-minute video where all I do is play around with a line tool in Microsoft Paint. So well done for persevering, because this definitely wasn't how I was expecting this to go. Okay, so now we're gonna get the paint bucket tool. Aha, okay, all right, here we go. So that looks a little bit more yellow now, that's good. So we've got 5 minutes left to get the text in, so let's give that a go. So I think the best thing to do is get 2 lines. So we need to make the color first, don't we? So let's back that up. Image, so we need like that kind of red, let me show you. We need to pull that red in. So I think I should be able to just pull it from with the eyedropper. So we go to eyedropper, choose that color, then go to text, then drag that in like this. Aha, good, all right. We're doing something. Don't. Let's make that like that. Let's bolden that. And then let's see if we have another font we can use. I think Arial will work the best, but I'm just checking if we have anything else. Let's do Arial, I think that's the best one. Okay, then we'll make that, let's say 80. Okay. Okay, now we're doing something. Now something's happening. Let's position that in place. All right, and then we're gonna do another one here. Make that a little bit wider. Okay, I've got 4 minutes left. Put that in place like that. All right, that's not bad. I'm actually quite, I think once we got the text over the top, that suddenly the cafe that was written underneath kind of disappeared and settled in. If I bring back the original, have a look, it doesn't actually look too dissimilar. Like, that's not bad. Now I can't put any like noise or grain effects or anything like that on it, but I'm definitely going to try and tidy it up in these last few moments to try and blend it in a bit. So let's see what we can do. I think maybe we could give it like a weathered effect using my trusty spray can. Let's zoom in. I'm not sure how I do this, but I think I'll just take the background color of this, make this nice and big, and just try and add some spray effects in to kind of give it a bit of a weathered look. Whether this is going to work or not, I don't know. Let's just zoom out now just to see. All right, I think we should do it. Why not? We've got time. I think one thing I like to do a lot in my designs is like sort of put, you know, brighten up the colors a bit, put effects on it, a lot of grain. Sometimes I'll like put some like film dust on it just to give it that kind of like speckled effect. And this just makes you rethink that. And sometimes it's for a good reason. Like sometimes like, do I actually need those things? Do they complicate the design? Is it something that actually helps the design, or is it just me using the effects because they're there? You definitely don't get this with paint. You get the bare basics and you just got to make do with it. So I appreciate that. It's almost like doing like a spring clean. You just get to remove everything that's not important. I know that got really philosophical, so I'll just stick to the design. Okay, so we've got 1 minute 25 seconds left. Let's try and, I don't know, do something else. What am I missing here? Let's see. Not much, actually. It does look a little bit worse for wear, but that's okay. All right, I'm just going to try and add some extra touches in, like this. And can I edit any of the colors? Don't want to do that. I'm gonna call it there. We've got 20 seconds left. Okay, I think that's pretty successful, considering that most of the effects I used for the original design don't even exist in Paint. I think we got pretty close. I may next time just ease off with the whole spray can thing because it doesn't look great. But I think considering the tools that we had, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you consider that a success, because I don't think that's too bad. If you've got a suggestion for what I should make next in Microsoft Paint, then let me know in the comments and I'll make sure I give you a shout out in the video you feature in. If you're looking to get involved with a community of creatives, then check out the Pro Church Media community. I'll leave a link in the description below. Click on that, join the Facebook group, and you can ask questions, get advice, get feedback on your own designs, and you can learn plenty of things from a great group of Christian creatives. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like. It really does go a long way to helping this channel, and consider subscribing for plenty more videos like this to come. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.